What's up, Boutique Hotel Nation? How are you? Welcome to another edition of the unofficial Boutique Hotel Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Adam Walls, and with me is my sister. No, he's not. He is not my sister. He is a mister from a different sister, Micah Thomas. Micah, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here yet again. We have tons to dig into today, so I'm ready to get started. We had a very interesting week last week. It was fun as well, but interesting to say the least. We got a chance to walk the property with the inspector, general contractors, interior designers. So I'm ready to dive in.
All right, and again, set the mood. Remind people, where are we? Are we in Italy? Are we in New York? Where in the world is our hotel?
So our hotel is in Page, Arizona. We're currently under contract, still in the due diligence phase. So we have a chance to back out if we don't see something that we like. But we are doing all the things. We're checking financials. We're looking at historical data, looking at payroll, operations, property status, and property condition. So we are doing all the things right now for a 50 key hotel in Page, Arizona.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. Page, Arizona. I'd never been to Page, Arizona, so this went straight from the PDF to IRL very quickly for me. I wasn't even going to go on this trip. Full
That's right.
disclosure to our audience, I was going to maybe wait, thinking a couple weeks later we might try and court or bring some private investors down. Um, but anyways, it just I don't know. It felt right to come down to Page and kind of put my own eyes on the project. And I actually, under the advice of Joe Weigel, one of our mentors here at Boutique Hotel Secrets, he said, I asked him, should I stay at the property? He's like, oh, are you kidding me? Hell yeah, like definitely stay there. Now, Mike had already booked somewhere a little more. It's not luxurious, but like these are all two-star products. He stayed at a different hotel, and I'm like, let me risk my life. And it was a little treacherous. I will say that. I think my wife would have been very disappointed if I would have chosen this for the family. But anyways, let's start with you, man. What were your first observations? Obviously, you'd been to Page before, so you got a little
Right.
leg up on me. But now
Yeah.
walking in under contract, how is this similar or different from, again, maybe like an Airbnb that you and I both have a background in the space, people listening to this, maybe they've got short-term rentals. What's it like to actually step onto property anticipating that you're going to buy this thing?
Yeah. I mean, totally different feeling, totally different environment. And I think the major part for me is I was able to walk this property before we even made an offer or submitted an LOI. But what I found out very quickly is they showed me probably the best of each room type
Mm.
and only the best areas. They were sure to try their best and hide all the things that could deter me away from making an offer. But very quickly, this became daunting just because, you walk one property but 50 keys is like walking 50 individual properties with 50 individual bathrooms, plumbing, lighting, AC units, you name it. And we had to go about it in a very organized way to make sure we were detailing the description and the condition of each of these things and more for each unit, on top of the pool condition and the office and the outdoor spaces. So, very happy that I had Adam tag along with me because there's no way in the world I'm able to do this by myself. It can become like I said, daunting very quickly. So I would say in that world, the inspection from residential to commercial or hotel, it is significantly more pieces to manage. And on top of that, we had what was four general contracting companies present during the inspection and walkthrough, and the interior designer and our inspector was walking around and pulling us aside to show us different things with the property. So it was more of a juggling act, but something that I think we did and we managed very well. So, with that being said, I'm interested to hear kind of what you thought about just walking the property for the first
Yeah.
time. You stayed there the night before and got some of the best sleep of your life. So
Yes.
interested to hear your side, going from an actual guest of the property to then the inspector and asset manager of the property.
Yeah, well, and again, hat tip to you for setting up all those GC meetings. I'd never seen anything like that, so I was expecting we were just going to go check it out, maybe chat with some GCs. Micah had pulled some magic in advance to, I don't know, it felt like speed dating or something. I'm like, who are you? What company are you with? But literally, these are all competitors. Many of them drove up from Phoenix 4 or 5 hours to get to the property to walk it. It kind of felt like a college campus tour. If you look off to the right, this is a statue of X, and it kind of had that vibe. So again, very creative, efficient way to get all of it done. The inspector was kind of independent, third party. They're running around with their a little team taking pictures, looking at plumbing, looking at roofing, looking at mechanical. So it was full court press. And I think the other thing that might be interesting for listeners to know is the employees have no clue at this time that this hotel might be up for sale, because there's a
Yes, sir.
world where either there's enough wrong with it that Mike and I back out. It's a world where we can't raise money or get debt financing and we can't perform. So I think the owner, rightfully so, has elected to say, let's get a little further down the line before we actually reveal to the team, because we don't want to spook or scare any of these guys. But that's kind of wild to meet employees, again, seeing the PDF, seeing some of the pay slips. Oh, here's a real person in front of me. So I would say definitely got real. Let's just say I think there's a lot of upside on this property. That might be the most diplomatic Adam way of saying, I mean, forever optimist, positive spinner du jour. Um, it's kind of what I expected from reading a lot of the reviews, that this is a locked office from 4 to 10. So we rolled up at, 3:30. I just wanted to see if maybe I could leave my bags there, maybe, check and see if the room might be available, like normal things. We'd actually arrived maybe closer to noon, took lunch, kind of walked around, got a feel for the surrounding area. And then when we went to the property, it was closer to check-in time, but the door's locked. It's one-way glass. Like you can see out, but not in. I mean, we were one stop short of maybe like bars on the window. Like the opposite of inviting is kind of like my first, if I'm really putting myself in the guest shoes, it's like, wow, okay, this is a very regimented place. And, at 4 o'clock, 4:01 on the dot, the door opened, asked some basic questions. They kind of messed up my reservation. They put me in a queen room, said that they didn't have any kings available. I could see all the keys on the wall. I think there were two guests, maybe four, like later on. I asked if I could stay in the second floor. That felt a little safer, maybe even had a view. Nope, sorry, sir. We don't let anyone stay there unless the entire hotel is full. Now, foreshadowing, we learned that there were some significant plumbing issues in that building. But anyways, I think this is happening all over America, all over Europe, all over the world, where just kind of tired properties that have not been reinvested in for decades. The employees are doing the best with what they have, but it's not a great product, and they're not rewarded for kind of going the extra mile. So, anyways, I was a little disappointed with the check-in experience. The room itself was a little bit daunting. Again, it's almost like I went back to college or something. Very basic. I mean, the furniture might be from the same time period, of when I went to college in the 90s, bro. So like it was old school. The phone and the key and the Wi-Fi were all branded from the previous hotel. I think this hotel changed names, what, 5, 10 years ago? Still
Yep.
rocking the old logo and relics from a hotel that's gone, that's closed.
Yep.
So I was confused. I had to turn off I had to unplug the refrigerator. It sounded like a Mack truck was in my room. The blackout curtains, not so black. Lights shining into my room late at night. I could hear people through the walls early in the morning. I did not sleep well. And like you're saying, walking through 50 rooms the next day on probably 3 hours of sleep and like no food, like I was getting a little cranky at the end because, once you've seen 42 rooms, what do you think's happening on the 43rd? There weren't many surprises left at that point, but anyways, I would say lots of opportunity. I wasn't shocked or dismayed or wanted to run for the hills, but I'm like, wow, we really are going to have to roll up our sleeves. There might be more capital infrastructure needed on this project than first anticipated. So, but hey, having an inspection report, getting real live bids from GCs, these are all things that take us out of the spreadsheet and like put us in a real world context to do what's needed to get this property kind of repositioned and back to life. Um, so, anyways, I'll flip it back to you. But do you mind talking about Room 16 for a second? That was
Ooh,
my one of my favorites. I
man.
fell in love, so I wonder if
Oh
you
my God. Room 16. How can I ever forget room 16? So yeah, like you said, it was a long day, or a long morning, I should say. We started at 8 a.m. We got there 2 hours before the GCs and inspector arrived with the goal of trying to get to all, if not as many rooms as possible individually. So we have an idea of what's happening before contractors arrived. Needless to say, we did not touch every room beforehand. It's just too big of a task, even in 2 hours. But we did get a lot done.
Mhm.
And after the contractors left, after the inspector left, we looked at more rooms. And amongst many, we came across infamous room 16 that was riddled with, I believe, mold, and I believe maybe even a cockroach Adam saw in there.
I did.
So
I actually got excited. I was like, I kept telling investors and friends we're one step above like kind of a Roach Motel. And now I think I gotta walk that back. I think we're no,
we
again,
are.
I mean, it was one bug, in one room that clearly not been rented in
Yeah,
months. But I mean, visibly the ceiling is sagging,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
smell is unique. These are not,
Smells like money.
unless we're renting this out as the hazmat suite. I just don't know how you could, in good conscience, put paying customers in there.
That's
So
exactly
again, it was
right.
just disappointing to me to see how low the property had fallen. And in some ways, again, like I put myself in the employee's shoes. Like, if we're not selling out the hotel every night, maybe it's easier just to close up some of the problem rooms and just shh.
Yep, yep,
So it's interesting. Again, I would have never gotten that off the spreadsheet or talking to a broker or having conversations about this from my private home office. Some of these things you just got to learn when you get to the property. And I'm
yep,
sure every hotel out there has its own version of room 16, but it's
yep,
indicative of, right, like of how far property can kind of drop in terms of kind of performance, quality standards, et cetera. And I see nothing but upside. To
yeah,
bring that back up to a standard, I think is going to be great for the city of Page, great for all these international tourists. In fact,
yep,
maybe this is a good place to talk about why the heck would people want to come to Page. We got to tour around some stuff outside of the property. So again, it's likely if you're listening to the show, you're looking to buy your first boutique hotel. You're probably not downtown Nashville or LA or San Francisco. You're probably in a secondary, tertiary market. Maybe you're close to some state parks, some national parks, some natural beauty. So Paige has got that, in massive ways. So
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about why you like this area and this investment. In
Absolutely. Outside of me really just loving the outdoors, I mean, this is right outside of a great landscape of mountains. The term Horseshoe Bend, if anybody's heard of that, it's 8 minutes outside the city of Page or the town of Page. Antelope Canyon is only 9 or 10 minutes outside of Page. So these are large geographic structures that people come, they take Instagram photos in front of. They'll even travel to this area for the popular hikes and Lake Powell, which is one of the biggest man-made lakes in the world. These are all reasons that people are traveling to Page. This is also in Arizona, which is considered one of America's most drivable states. So people easily hop from Page. They go to the Grand Canyon. They'll stop at Sedona. They'll go down to Phoenix. All these things are within driving distance of one another. And it's a really big tourist attraction. I believe Page brings in about 5 million visitors a year. So there's a heavy tourist demand in the city of Page. And a lot of those travelers are international. So there's tons of potential. And the data, the market research we've done, not even just in the spreadsheets, but also in person, have really shown that. They've shown that people are willing to travel. They're willing to see the great outdoors, whether it's the mountain, whether it's the lake, whether it's just taking up the Navajo culture and learning more about that. this place has a lot to offer. So
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of what did you take away from the vast landscape and the many things there were to do in the city of Page? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, it's clearly a small town. So, again, one night we went over to what was it, Sunset 89, and they're
Yeah.
hosting like their annual music event. And we were kind of pumped to just like have a great view, look out, and we walk up and it's like Green Day cover band, like rocking out slightly off key. They're like, yeah, it's $50 to get in. And we're like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Or for $150, you can get some food and two drinks. Cool, we'll pass. But remember, then we went out to the marina, so about 15 minutes out, and we got these wonderful sunset views of the canyons. We got to see a moon rise, which was actually insane. Food
And it
was
was a full
good,
moon.
people were lovely. So, there's so many pockets of this place where they understand hospitality and tourism. So I think there are just so many pros going for you, but the question is, can you harness it? And can you create a consistent high level experience? One of my highlights, actually, you mentioned that, this area is surrounded by Navajo Nation. You've got deep Hopi connection. So a lot of indigenous Native American tribes around here. So that obviously shows up in landscape, culture, food, art, architecture. There was a cultural show that we wanted to hit, but we'll have to hit it next time because we opted for the sunset this time around.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite moments was actually when we were walking to other hotels. We realized that well, I'm not going to name the hotel, just to protect a little bit of anonymity here. But one of the hotels had created a partnership with a local gym. And so we went over to said gym. We kind of, hey, can we get like a tour? Hey, is the manager around? Oh, and then we got introduced to Jessica. And maybe you can share a little bit about who Jessica is, like her
Yeah.
vibes, like what they got
Yeah.
going on, and a potential partnership. And this like just has me to the moon about not just putting up, I don't know, a Hampton Inn or a Quality Inn or a La Quinta Inn, and then just kind of calling it good, cookie cutter, and you could be anywhere in America. I think the idea, the spirit behind a boutique hotel is connecting to place and people and culture. And so Jessica just, I think, had that in spades. And I don't know, maybe you can talk
Yeah.
listeners through like
Yeah.
that.
She's got to be a gift from God, and she didn't do anything that was like magical, but she just has so much passion surrounded around the city of Page and partnering with local businesses. She loves boutique hotels, by the way. So she's yearning for people who want to tap back into the local economy, the local culture. She's part of Navajo Nation. So she really wants to give back to her community in the best way she knows how. And right now she's doing it in the service of a gym and more like a smoothie shop. I believe that's in the front of her
Mhm.
gym, but she's wanting to partner. Not only does she want to partner, she wants to get us connected to people that she's connected to for even bigger partnerships. She mentioned that she partnered with, I don't, it was a large hotel chain. I can't remember the name, but
Yep.
anyway, she said that she got so much business from partnering with them, they really couldn't handle it. So they had to back off of the partnership. So to me, that's such a great opportunity to hear. It's like they got overwhelming business to the point that they had to slow down a little bit because they didn't have the infrastructure to support it. So there's tons of opportunity with just partnering with the local community and the local businesses. And I think that's what a boutique hotel is all about. Like you mentioned, this isn't your flag hotel or your franchise hotel where you close the windows and you don't know if you're in New York City or Miami or
Mhm.
LA. This is a boutique hotel that gives such good homage to the local inspiration, the culture, this blue collar town where people want to enjoy the amenities that are around and have a good product that they can be proud of, not just somebody coming in and sticking your Hilton Garden Inn and no shots to them, but a boutique hotel really offers you that local curated vibe. So
Yeah,
she was so happy to share with her all the information she had. At one point, I think we had to stop her from talking because her employees needed her for help. And she just kept talking about everything that she could
yeah,
help with and how excited she was for her project. So just somebody that's very passionate about the community. And we like you said, we both love to hear that because even though we're both from out of town, I think it's safe to say neither of us want to be known as the out of town guys who
that's right.
just come, they throw a boutique hotel up, they make money hand over fist, and they don't do anything for the community. That's not really
Yeah.
what we want to be. we want to be people who come in, we really give back to the community, and everything that we feature, if not most things, have a great kind of inspiration from the culture and the community around us. So
Yeah.
again, she was lovely to talk to, and would love to partner with her as well as other businesses in the future, just to really get the boutique feel that we're going for.
Yeah, that's right. And early days we were, kind of mapping out, okay, would we potentially sacrifice a revenue generating room to turn it into a gym, a co-working space, a laundry area, a locker room. Like there's so many different ideas, golf simulator. There's so many ideas about what you could do in a space that would be cool. But honestly, I don't know about you, but sometimes you go to the hotel gym and it's pretty disappointing because it's a tiny room, smells like rubber. There's like three things in there, and you're like, I'll pass. Um, Meanwhile, I know some good friends that when they travel, that's like the first criteria is like, I'm going to look at the gyms. And if
Yeah,
it's a deal breaker, I will not book a place if it doesn't have a gym. So think of the strategic advantage here of us keeping all of our rooms online. We're not converting something to a gym. We can partner with the gym, which is just like a mile up the street, like a 2 minute drive or 10, 15 minute
I think it's
walk
a
or jog.
half a mile drive,
Yeah,
12-minute walk.
nothing, right? So it's right nearby, and it's huge, and it's got everything and all the things, and we can set up a partnership with her. Where again, I don't know if it's a code or whatever it is, but she's going to basically tally up how many guests come. Every guest that stays with us gets automatic day pass to this facility. So if you're staying for 3 days, you could go for 3 days. And then whatever the charge is, we'll settle up at the end of the month and we'll pay that back. That's what we're looking for when we're talking about strategic partnerships. I think I first heard about this idea. I think it was Matt McDonald in STR Secrets,
Yep.
one of the coaches, where either with an Airbnb or with, I think maybe his boutique hotel, set up a partnership with a YMCA. So
Yeah.
again, this is just food for thought. If people are listening, I wonder if you've already done that. I haven't done that with my Airbnbs, right? This is all part of that journey of going from amateur to pro and looking for creative ways to tell a story and connect to the space.
Yeah.
So, anyways, hat tip to Matt McDonald for kind of planting that idea. And then it was, as soon as we saw it at this other hotel that they were offering it, we're like, we got to match that.
Yeah.
And let's look for additional,
Absolutely.
partnerships. So, I don't know if maybe you want to talk a little bit about coffee or our ideas about food on
Absolutely.
the property, because this one,
Absolutely.
by the way, we've been going back and forth on like, do you include food? Do you not have food? Do we outsource food? And by the way, our hotel, the one that we're purchasing, used to have food. I mean, it's literally on the sign, like free Wi-Fi, hot breakfast. Can't remember the third thing. When I checked in, no food. I mean, it's very clear they're like losing money. So it was an obvious place for them to cut. So a little disappointing, but it's this race to the bottom then, because now if you're not including food, well, you got to be cheaper than the next guy over because the Best Western next door is offering food.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about, I don't know, your current thinking
Yeah.
about what do you imagine happens on our property for somebody who's thirsty or their tummy is starting to growl.
Yeah. So I mean, the first thing that I asked during the first visit, I asked the operations manager, "Do you guys serve breakfast?" And he said, we stopped serving breakfast because our revenue doesn't support it, and the guests would complain about it anyway. So to me, that sounds like a bad solution for an operational problem. But okay, I get it. If
Yep.
that's how he does his business, totally fine. So right now they have the infrastructure in house to serve a small abbreviated breakfast, but as we took tours around to different hotels, breakfast is pretty much the standard for all hotels in the area. So we were like Adam said, we were going back and forth about should we offer breakfast or should we kind of maybe have a food truck or what should we do? So we are still on the fence, but I think we're leaning towards partnering with a local coffee shop or a local donut shop and maybe partnering with a food truck in front of the hotel
Mhm.
or some type of stand where we can offer not only guests but the general public some food, coffee, maybe even local beer during happy hour, or for guests that check in, a complimentary beverage as long as they're of age. And this will be strategically located by the pool and all of our outdoor amenities to just make for a better experience. So this way, I think if we're able to outsource a company for food, we can provide breakfast, lunch, free cocktails, mocktails to our guests, but we also don't have to incur any of those costs or expenses that come with running a restaurant or keeping food and beverage stocked on an ongoing basis and worrying about deliverables and things that expire. So this to me sounds like another very good strategic partnership if we can pull it off, because we can say, yes, we offer breakfast. It may be at a cost. Maybe we give guests free breakfast if they stay at our property. Those details can be ironed out. But this takes a property that absolutely does not serve breakfast to now even an elevated breakfast, because instead of your box eggs and your chicken sausage with the what do I want to say, the old bagels and muffins
Totally.
that are sitting on the side, you now have fresh breakfast that was made by somebody that's maybe local to the community or has like
Yeah.
a Navajo based culinary inspiration. So these are just, again, ways to think about strategic partnership, and I think they go such a long way for offering, again, that curated cultural experience that you look for in a boutique hotel versus those kind of mom and pop or cookie cutter hotels that are going to give you the same thing no matter where you go.
Yeah, yeah. And one real quick story, just getting home. Now again, you flew out of Vegas, so you took the car and I was flying out of Page, which has one gate, and I'd scheduled a lift to pick me up the next morning. So go downstairs, it's 10 minutes, still hasn't matched. 5 minutes hasn't matched. It's time to pick me up, hasn't matched. Wait 5 minutes after, hasn't matched. Try Uber, then talk to the front desk. They're like, well, there's one taxi company in town. It's whatever his name is. And yeah, I think he stopped doing it. So I'm like, cool. How do I
Oh
get to the
man,
airport? So literally it was the front desk, like calling a friend that used to drive for this guy, who's like maybe a maintenance worker at a different place, in his personal car. Sean took us to the airport so we could make our flight on time. Now,
amazing.
for context, we left at like our flight's at 8 a.m. It's like 7:20, 7:25. Going, do we have to walk? Like it's a couple miles. Are we going to make it? Like by 7:25, we had checked in, cleared security, and we're waiting for so this is a very, very small town. But it shows you, again, the power of relationships
Yeah,
and I think being a good steward of the community, finding ways to give back. I remember Jessica had mentioned, I think her gym participates in a program to support bagged lunches at the reservation. Or so I think that's going to be on our radar, thinking about could we take a percentage of our merch or total sales, or could we donate or contribute, to the positive betterment of this city, and making it more vibrant and a better place for visitors or locals. I know we're coming up on time. The one question I wanted to ask you, the last question is, I think both of us have ideas of, let's call it a bonus project, or maybe a wish
oh
versus
yeah.
a want, a need. Obviously, we're going to be facing budget challenges. We'll talk more about how we're thinking about that, inspection reports, bids, blah 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 blah. Um, my dream project was kind of cutting out cinder block, creating a window, second story, amazing suite. You had a different idea. Again, if you've got an extra 100 grand, 200 grand, if money wasn't a thing, what would you do on this property? Like,
I'm so glad you asked that question because it's something I get very excited about. So, if and when you all get to see our project, um, from the second story, you can look out into the distance and you get a really good view of the Red Rock Mountains that pretty much surround the entire city of Page. And there's a really good vantage point just above the office and on the second floor of one of the buildings. So, if I had extra money, 100, 200K, and money was no option, I would put a rooftop lookout slash bar above the office. So this again elevates the experience for guests. Guests can watch the sunset. We can even put like a dome or a telescope on the roof. So this can go along with a happy hour or a welcome drink. Guests have somewhere to go upstairs and look at. And this is also after looking at the other products in town and seeing that there's maybe only two or three other hotels that have a lookout to
a
begin
view.
with.
Mhm.
So there's 23 hotels in reference. So even if we were the fourth hotel or the fifth hotel to do it, we can set ourselves apart yet again by offering this. So that is what I would love to do if money were no option, but
I love
something
it.
tells me we're going to have budget constraints and we need to prioritize what's important and what's a nice to have. So
Yep.
with that
Yep.
being said, I want to ask you, or if you want to talk a little bit more about your nice to have and how that can go.
All right, great. So we'll imagine we've got this beautiful magic wand for now, and then we'll sheathe it or step on it or snap it. I don't know, like if anything, or maybe these are just phase two projects because I
Yeah.
love the idea of a sunset lookout spot. The three or four hotels that you're referencing that have great views, they're just perched on a cliff.
Yeah.
So we're literally at ground floor. You've got a great view.
Yeah.
There's still, I don't even think in this market there is a quote unquote rooftop bar or rooftop vantage point. There's scenic points, again, that you can drive to, and you're overlooking cliffs and canyons and all of that, but that's a little bit outside of town. So I think you're right, being right on Main Street, having some string lights, having a little bit of a vibe during sunset. I gotta believe that people that are staying with us or want to stay with us would be super interested in, hey, hang on, why did our tour bus book the Best Western and not that place? That
Yeah.
place seems fun. That place
Yeah.
seems cool. So I love the idea from the marketing, just the drive-by value, the experience that you're creating for guests. All of that sounds awesome. It's just, can our building structurally support it? And if we had to create a floating deck or basically put a giant metal table over everything, how expensive is that going to be? So beautiful vision. I'm with you, and let's see what happens with the money. My bucket list item was again that you know which one I'm talking about is that upstairs far
Yeah.
left room. I think it might be room 40, and the best view on the entire property right now is like from the stairwell.
Yeah.
These are cinder block rooms with basically like, just the window or a sliding glass door, like kind of on the front, sliding glass door or a window and a door. Um, and the view is behind you, bro. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And so I imagine that corner pocket, either one wall or two walls, slicing out and creating a beautiful window, and then make it like kind of a suite. Maybe that one's even got like a little fireplace. You deck it out, you amenitize it. Maybe it's just for a couple, but this is something that I think could be one of the highest ADR rooms or properties in the town.
I
Now, again,
agree.
if you get out of town, you can go to the Amon Gary, which, by the way, we tried to go to, or at least I tried to call, and they were charging $6,200 a night. That's 20 minutes away. So there is money coming to this area to see the sights. That's the highest, highest, highest end. We're not even pretending to get close to that. But I think something incorporating the natural view is the home run differentiator. Bring the outside in or the inside out. I think that's it. So, anyways, that's mine. Look, I know we can talk all day about this stuff.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna have be talking with our advisors, our coaches, keep kind of chronicling our journey and adventure, going from guys that own zero boutique hotels to own one, to then maybe two, to then maybe three over time. So we want to kind of tell our story as it's happening, want to invite in different perspectives, different projects, different students, different mentors, different people that got lots of hotels. We just talked to a cool guy in Texas who's got 8 boutique hotels.
Yeah.
So again, if you're interested in this space, if you think maybe you've already got a small portfolio, 1 to 4 to 40 Airbnbs, but the idea of getting another 1, 5, 10 Airbnbs with that many more roofs, that many more cleaners, that sounds hard. It is. It is. That's why it feels that way. It is. Now, again, you can hire VAs, you can build a team. STR Secrets is all about helping you scale efficiently to bring back your time, create some time freedom and some financial independence. But Boutique Hotel Secrets is all about how to elevate and transition into the commercial space where the game just gets super fun. So again, if things break just average for us, I think we double the valuation of this property in
Yeah.
2 or 3 years. And
Yeah.
you just can't do that in the Airbnb game. You just take cash flow, you take depreciation, you take your appreciation, 3, 10%, each year. Your house gets a little bit more valuable over time. But man, commercial affords this opportunity to just rocket ship wealth. Um, and anyways, I'm excited to go on the journey. So thank you for tuning in to this week's kind of, let's call it raw first reactions. We literally walked the property as kind of future owners, a very different vantage point. We've got an inspection report in hand. We're actively getting bids from GCs, and we'll continue the journey next week. So, Micah, any closing thoughts before we shut off today's episode?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We are excited. We could talk about this forever, but we got plenty of time and we'll learn more and more every single week. So just excited to continue to document this journey and keep pushing forward.
Amazing. So, Hotel Nation, like, thank you once again for tuning in. We understand your time and attention. It's precious, man. Thank you for being here for the ride. If you want to learn more information, I mean, DM us, hit us up, ask questions, let us know what topics, what guests you want to hear from. Our whole goal is to educate you and tell the stories of people making this leap from STRs into boutique hotels. So, thank you again, and we'll see you on the next pod.